I thought that today I would talk about my first year at Oregon State so far. So I am a first year, as I've mentioned. I have a major of civil engineering at the moment, and I'll get a little bit into that in a second. And then I live on campus because at Oregon State they really want you to live your first year on campus. It's a big deal, and I can talk about that too. And then, well, yeah, it's spring term almost done. It's week 3. So I chose to be a civil engineer my sophomore year of high school, I believe. At the end of sophomore year, I believe. And I think I chose that because they began to ask me a lot more frequently, what do you want to do with your life? Like, what do you want to do when you grow up? What do you want to study in college? What's your major? And like all these things all the time. And one time I got interested in civil engineering because I went to a conference about engineering, about women in engineering and all these things. And I was like, you know what, I can do that. I'm interested in this. So that's what I wrote. And then I always just people would ask me, what's your major or whatever, like, what do you want to study in college? And I would always say civil engineering. But I would just basically go back to that moment, like I never really put that much more thought into any other major. Right now I'm okay with it, but I'm not sure if in the future I will. Like in the future, as in like 10-20 years, if I'm still gonna want to do that. But right now I do want to do it. The only other thing that I'm sort of interested in is translating. My mom's always been like, you should translate, like you have Spanish and English and you can do that or whatever. So if civil engineering doesn't work out, my other option would be translating. So if I could like get the license that you need for it, and then like translate maybe for like mass, like in church or school events, they always need somebody to translate, or for the government, but that's like top notch. I decided to live on campus because it wasn't really much of a decision. Really, the only people that are first years and don't live on campus are people that live in Corvallis, like they were raised in Corvallis and they live in Corvallis or in Albany, which is pretty close to Corvallis, and so they don't live on campus. It wouldn't make sense for them to pay to live here while they live like 10 minutes away, kind of thing. So I live in Callahan, and for me to get to like the center of like the campus, it takes about like 7 or 8 minutes, and I walk pretty fast, not like super fast, but I walk faster than a lot of people, and which isn't that bad. Like most of my classes are closer to me. The only time that I go to like the center of campus is when I want to go to the MU, which is like it's the Memorial Union. It's like a really old building, and they have a lot of stuff in there, and they have like places where you can study. They have a lot of couches, which is really nice when you're like tired and you want to take a nap, but you don't have time to go back to your dorm and you're already on campus. And they have food there too, and sometimes I want to eat certain food. So to get there, that's not that far away, like 8 minutes, not that far of a walk, 7 minutes, And then why did I choose Callahan to live in? Honestly, I didn't. This is a terrible thing to do. Don't do what I did. But there's a thing here at Oregon State where it's called START. I think it might be the same. It's like the same thing idea in other schools, but it's not. I don't think it's called the same thing. Where you come during the summer to the school, and you like learn more about the school, and then like you also register for classes, and then you also register for housing, I think, during then. Anyways, I didn't do that because I didn't decide that I wanted to come to Oregon State until like at the end of August, which is not a good idea. So then I didn't register for my classes until like 2 days before classes began. And then which was like still a time, like there was that was the last time where you could register for classes, but there were just not a lot of options left. And I was talking to my friend and I was like, I don't even have a housing place yet, like whatever, and like all these things. And luckily they actually called me, and they're like legit 20 minutes before I left back home, which is in Portland, Oregon. They called me and they were like, Elizabeth, yeah. And I was like, yeah. And like, this is gonna be your building and this is gonna be your number. And I was like, dope. And then later on I found out that a lot of people were actually had to sleep like on the main lobby and stuff because they didn't have a room, which was weird because I don't know, I feel like there was still a lot of empty rooms. Like my roommate now said that she didn't have a roommate for like 5 days because I don't know. And yeah, it's week 3. I'm almost done with my first year, and that's really crazy to say. I have my first midterm for this term, for spring term, this Thursday, and then I have 2 next week, and then 1 week 5. So it's like, oh, it's like midterm, and then constantly doing homework, which like now I've like totally become accustomed to doing. But yeah, when you first start, it's really hard to like get into that rhythm, but I really like it. And then for next year, my second year, I think yesterday, the day before, I decided that instead of living off campus, which a lot of people my second year will do, is I'm gonna live on campus because I feel like it'll give me more motivation. I feel, because if I have my own place and I have like, it's gonna feel more like home, you know. So I decided to live on campus. I don't know where I'm gonna live yet, but I need to figure that out soon. And yeah, that's been my first year at Oregon State so far. And I've really been enjoying it. I actually really like it. Surprisingly for me, I felt like I wasn't going to, only because I'm so shy. But I really like it. And I'm just really happy.